everybody, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm gonna be ranking, it's not even funny at the end of the day, my favorite Pretty Little Liars plot holes. I was sitting and I was a bit bored and I was like, you know what, let me put in order my favorite Pretty Little Liars plot holes. I feel like you could only do this for a show like Pretty Little Liars. Do you know what I mean? The plot holes in this show, there's a lot. Why am I laughing? It's actually not even that funny at the end of the day. It's not even that funny. Yeah, it's not. So yeah, I've put together a list of 10 and we're going to be counting down. Okay. Why not? Let's get started. Let me just stop waffling and let's just get started, right? So we're counting down, right? So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah? Number 10, I've just put Sarah Harvey. Just everything. I don't vibe with me and Sarah Harvey. And she's ultimately very low down on the slay factor. She might even be in the negatives. Yeah, she's not very high up on the slayometer. Sarah Harvey, right, ultimately went missing around the same time that Alison did, but we are told that like Cece took her kind of around that time, but Cece was still in Radley and ultimately Cece could not have taken Sarah. So where was Sarah hiding between the time Alison went missing and when Cece actually kind of got her? Because also, why did she work for Cece? How did her and Cece meet? Like, she's like over here torturing these bunch of girls that she's never even like met. And like the whole dollhouse thing even like just confuses me even more, because like obviously in the dollhouse when we first meet her, she's like chalking how many days she's been on there and she looks like obviously like she's been tortured. Hello. But like if she was working with Cece the whole time, like do you know what I'm trying to say? Although my favorite thing about Sarah, you know how she was like, I need to take a shower like literally every 5 minutes on the show.
I'm gonna take a shower. Well,
she died in the shower. Next one on the list, number 9, Cece. Once again, a lot of Cece's backstory, obviously when we're told it in season 6, doesn't really make sense with the timeline, and there's just some things that don't make sense to me. Like, for example, she was in the Rosewood high school yearbook and she was like on the drama and debate club and she was prom queen, but she never went to that school. So girl, what's going on there? Was there a mix-up or like what? Like if I was on the yearbook committee and there's this random, who is this? She doesn't even come here. I'm not adding her in this book. Then obviously we're told that she was only really let out of Radley for her UPenn classes. But then we are told that she had a roommate at UPenn, but this can't be because she literally lived at Radley. So girl, let's get this timeline straight. At the minute, the slayometer for Cece, she's fine because like I quite like Cece's character, a bit of a girl boss, you know what I mean? But like on the slayometer of like making sense, she's very low. Marlene King, you are on thin ice, bestie. Thin ice. Okay, next one on the agenda, Bethany Young. Bethany Young is my one, like I will talk about her for the rest of my life, because the potential of Bethany Young, in my opinion, was like up there with the dollhouse. So my grievances with the whole Bethany Young thing, okay, so you have this Radley patient that's gone missing. No one's uttered a word. Not one staff member has been like, guys, I swear there used to be a girl called Bethany here. There was like a whole thing with dental records, and that's how they apparently confirmed it was Alison's body, but it was not Alison's body. So who switched dental records with from Bethany, Alison's to Bethany's, Bethany's to Alison, whatever? Because who did that? Jessica De Laurentiis? Are you going to step up to the microphone? I'll give it to you. The whole Bethany Young thing still actually makes me quite mad. I won't lie. Because potential was there. What if Bethany Young was someone that we knew? Do you know what I mean? The slay-o-meter for Bethany Young's character is very much in the negatives along with Sarah Harvey. Okay, next one. This is number 10, 9, 8. Okay, this is 7. Wilden's age. I'm going to read this from my laptop because I don't want to get this wrong, because I will get it wrong. In season 1, Hannah said that Wilden attended high school in 1996. Right. However, in season 4, Spencer said that Wilden and Melissa went to high school together. Melissa was 24 years old during this time, so she would have finished high school around 2004, 2005. The maths is not mathing. You know, I'm not a mathematic genius, right? The math is not math thing. Anyway, Wilden is supposed to be 24 as well. Same age as Melissa. So it's impossible, that Wilden was in school during 1996. But his age was then changed again in season 4 when he was the same age as Jessica in 1998. And then, right, we're not finished. We've still got more to add, okay? He then supposedly covered up Marion's death when Cece, doesn't make sense, guys, I've made a typo here. When he was 12, okay? The whole Bethany pushed Marion off the roof thing, right? Wilden was supposed to be the police officer that helped cover that up, right? So unless he's a police officer when he's under the age of 12, Marlene King. So yeah, Wilden's age, the consistency, it's not even once or twice. It's like 5 times they change how old he is. Just give us a year. Just give us, how old is this man? Marlene King. Let's get back in the writer's room. Let's get the calculators out, right? I'm not a mathematic genius. I barely pass maths at school, right? But we got calculators nowadays. Let's sit down. Let's work it out together. Next one. Okay, yeah. Another one to do with Wilden. But the menace. Wilden and that night. Right. So, obviously, Wilden's a police officer. Obviously, the police officers in Rosewood are not very smart, not very clever, very corrupt. I wouldn't go to them if I needed help. Do you know what I mean? The night that Alison disappeared, Jessica called Wilden to come and collect Cece. Now, Cece was distraught, in tears. She looked devastated, right? And then, obviously, Alison, we find out, is dead, right? And I understand Wilden might not know what happened down to a T, but if you are a police officer, do you not put one and one together? Because he obviously investigates Alison's disappearance. I feel like as a police officer, if the night she went missing or was murdered, I had to go and collect someone who had escaped a mental institution and was very devastated and their mum had to pay me off, I would put one and one together. I'm not a police officer. I hold my hands up. I'm not a police officer. But would you not put one and one together? And then, obviously, Wilden and Alison had a relationship. It wasn't really a relationship, but it was like, whatever. Does he not know he'd have to, like, find that out during the investigation? Like, why was he investigating Alison's murder when, first of all, he could probably solve what happened just by the whole Jessica paying him off. But then also he is beach hottie. So anyway, next one. Ian's death. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a plot hole, but maybe just something that we got contradicting things about, right? So obviously the whole bell tower incident. Did Ian die then or not? Because looked to me like he was dead, right? But obviously someone had to remove him off the bell tower, and we are assuming it's A. So was he alive once A removed his body? And then when he actually died, was that actually Ian's choice, or was it A that had killed him, or was he already dead from the bell tower? Because we don't know. We never get told. Obviously they stage it, his death, as and I can't say the words on here, sorry guys. Generally, was that Ian's choice to do that, or was it A that had killed him? Because it wasn't any of the girls, and Alison, we are led to believe, pushed him initially. So I guess we're left to assume it's A, but we never really get an answer for that, and that's just why I've listed it here, because it's not really a plot hole, but it's just something that's what's the answer then, Alex and Ren meeting. I'm gonna have to read this from my laptop as well, because I've written a whole speech on here, right? At the end of season 4A, we find out Ren and Melissa got back together and they moved to London to live with their roommate Colin. Fun, fresh, right? But in season 5B, Spencer went to London and she met Melissa, Colin and Ren. And then in season 6B, Hannah says that she met Melissa 2 years before 6B, before the time jump. And Melissa told her that Ren had broken up with her. But, and this is in capitals, but. So Alex tells us that Ren introduced Alex to Cece when Cece was on her way to France, which is events that happened in season 5, episode 1, which means Ren and Alex met and became a couple in season 4B. But Ren and Melissa just returned to London, and Alex said that Cece decided to stay in London, and she, Alex, Archer and Ren spent all their time together. In between all of this, if this is behind Melissa's back and Melissa doesn't know, does Melissa not suspect anything? Because if Ren, Archer, Alex and Cece are just hanging around together all the time, but Melissa's also there, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, because obviously Melissa doesn't know about Alex. So the timeline inconsistency with that is a major plot hole, because that literally cannot be a thing unless it was all behind Melissa's back. But then Melissa would have noticed, no? The inconsistency with the timeline. Marlene King, what's going on? Girl. Right, we're in the last 3. This is number 3. Garrett's DNA. So we are led to believe that Garrett and Jenna stole page 5 of the autopsy of the body that was discovered that we thought was Alison, because they had found Garrett's DNA on it. Obviously, we're given the scene where, the Alison, Garrett, Jenna thing that happened the night she went missing. However, the body is not Alison's, and the body is Bethany. So how did Garrett's DNA get on to Bethany's body? Because they had never met. I don't think Garrett even knew who Bethany was. So how is this DNA getting on there then? Okay. Number 2, are we ready? Never Ending November. Oh my god, this is my favorite. You better be sat for this one, guys. From season 3, episode 14 to season 5, episode 15. So 2 seasons, basically, is 1 month. 24 days, right? Takes place in 2 seasons. Come on now, Marlene King. So I'm gonna read this for you, right? We're gonna read this together. Emily's birthday, which is the 19th of November, was in season 4, episode 9. Thanksgiving, which is the 20th of November, was season 5, episode 12. So 4 days between season 4, episode 9 to season 5, episode 12 is 4 days, everybody. So this is everything that happened in those 4 days. Okay. Ezra found out Malcolm is not his son. Arya and Ezra get together. They break up. Ezra's book gets exposed. Ezra gets shot. and he recovers. Hannah breaks up with Caleb. She meets Travis and then she breaks up with Travis and then she gets back with Caleb. The liars see Alison again. She comes back to Rosewood. Jessica dies. Alison goes back to Rosewood High. Cece gets arrested. She escapes custody. She goes to New York and then goes to Paris. And Toby goes through the police academy and becomes a police officer. Toby becomes a police officer in like 4 days. Come on now, man. See, plot holes with like the actual plot, as in like, you know, the other ones I've mentioned to do with characters, they can happen. You know, it's, you know, sometimes the story changes, sometimes the plot changes, and they just need to, you know, cancel out things that have happened before. That's fine. But when it comes to the actual timeline, things need to make sense. You know, like we saw with the Wilden Age thing. Things need to make sense and they don't. There is no way 24 days is 2 seasons. Guys. Okay, then we got the final plot hole, right? This is probably the biggest. Maybe not the biggest. Maybe I lied. But it's my favourite. Marion's death. Now, everybody. Toby tells us, not us, Emily, but whatever, that his mum died in 2007, right? Rest in peace, 2007. In a flashback scene in season 4, we are given Toby, Marion, and Alison in the same room as adults. Okay. Toby is not an adult in 2007. So this would have happened after her death. Now, the way that Marlene King explained this, she said that she wanted to use the characters, like the actual actors rather than like kids' version of the actors, and that it does make sense, but she just wanted to use the actual actors, but the time was like ages ago. Marlene King, come on now. Marlene King. Like, if you wanted to do this scene, you could have just used children actors and we would have known who it was. Like, I don't know. I don't really take that explanation. I think it's okay to be like, yeah, we screwed up a little bit there. I'm so sorry. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I've said her in season 8. It's season 6. Girl, I was making this at 3 a.m. The amount of typos I've seen in this PowerPoint, I'm very sorry. I'm not that dumb, guys, okay? I actually got an A in English in school, okay? I just made this at 3 a.m. In season 6, we are told, obviously, the whole Bethany pushed Marion off the roof. And that happened in 1998, when Charles was 12 years old and was younger than Toby and Alison. So the timeline for Marion's death is completely, just doesn't make any sense, because we're told 3 different dates that she died, and none of them really add up either way. So that's a whole thing. That is it for this video. I would love to hear your opinion down below on your favorite plot hole, or any opinions on my listings or anything like that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.